Hey everybody, welcome to the Coffee Club, your weekly show from commonsenseconversation.com, where we take and expose government corruption, government stupidity, plain out anti-constitutional government problems all over the country. As soon as we listen to a word from one of our sponsors, we'll be right back. And we're going to be talking about how the government will buy you a house.
Hi folks, this is Justin from Catharsis of the Vogue blog at justinsbrainpan.com. Join me for an eclectic commentary on everything from kidney failure to fiction writing, all at justinsbrainpan.com.
We're back, folks. Remember the purpose of this show now. The Coffee Club is designed to make you mad. It is to piss you off. That's the purpose of the show. To make you mad enough to contact your Congress critters, your representatives and your senators, or your state people if I bring up something happening in your state, or your local people if I stumble across something really bad in some locality. The purpose of the Coffee Club is to piss you off and get you to call them. Look over there on the right sidebar of commonsenseconversation.com, right down there toward the bottom. You'll see a little widget where you can locate your Congress critter. You don't have to go Googling or anything. Put in your address, your zip code, and click submit. And back will come the name of your representative and both of your senators. Names, email addresses, phone numbers, everything you need to contact them and tell them one thing. This shit's got to stop, because there's a lot of shit out there that has to stop. If you believe in small, limited, unobtrusive government, if you believe in constitutional government, there's a lot of stuff that has to stop. Let me give you an example today of something that has to stop. Did you know the government with all of their Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac issues and all the things that they claim that they're doing to try to help people, it's always to help people. It's never a giveaway. It's never to give somebody something. It's to help them. Unemployment is just to help tide them over until they get another job. And federal government has a lot of help problems. Well, here's one that I think gives a little bit more help than it's supposed to. Did you know that the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development has a program where people who live in public housing will be given vouchers to buy themselves a house? After all, we don't want them in public housing. Now, they shouldn't have to work their way out of public housing. They shouldn't have to save money to buy a house to get out of public housing. The Department of Urban Development, Housing and Urban Development, will give them the money. And they don't just give them their mortgage payment. They'll give them money for the down payment. They'll give them money for their mortgage payment and associated homeowners' expenses. Now, what expenses is that they're going to pay for? Well, they're going to pay for their homeowners insurance. They're going to pay for their the insurance on their mortgage. They're going to pay for homeowners insurance and the mortgage insurance that pays the mortgage holder if they default. They're going to pay those premiums. They're going to pay their electric bill. If they're getting all that crap, they're probably on food stamps, so they're going to buy their groceries, and they're probably on Medicaid, so they're going to take care of them. Now, let me ask you something. If somebody gives you a place to live in with your name on it, if somebody pays all the expenses for that place, and they buy you groceries, and they take care of your medical bills, just what the hell do you need to work for? Where's any incentive to get your ass out of that government-bought house? It's government housing, damn it. The Department of Housing and Urban Development can call it a program that gets you out of public housing, but it doesn't get you out of public housing. You're still in public housing. When the government buys your house for you and the government makes your payments for you, you're in government housing. You may not be in a housing project. You may not be in a Section 8 apartment complex, but you're in government housing if you're part of the PHP program. I think it's PHP. PHA. Public Housing Assistance Program. How long can a family receive that assistance? After all, it's assistance to help them get out and stand on their feet, right? They get that assistance for 15 years if they have a mortgage that the terms are 25 years or longer. If they have a shorter mortgage, they don't get it for 15 years. Poor folks. They only get it for 10 years. Did you know the average home in America is owned for 3.5 years before it's sold? It's not like it was back when our grandparents built a house and that's where they stayed. Now you got to have a starter house, and then you got to have a house a little bit bigger because now you got some kids. And then once the kids, got the kids and got the size of house established that you need, then you got to get a fancier house so you can impress the Joneses. People don't stay in houses their whole lives anymore. Houses change hands between every 3.5 to 4 years on average. And this program, at a minimum, will help people for 10 years. So it'll help people the entire time they own a house, and they qualify to get it again. It's not a one-time program. It's a one-time program, all right. It's a one-time rip the taxpayers off program. You get ripped off once and continually. It never stops. But for the homeowner, they can sell that house later and put the profit in their pocket, and they can use the program to go buy another house. Your tax dollars at work, folks. Aren't you happy campers? We'll talk to you about something else here in just a minute. Give you a little hint. Has to do with Herman Cain and where his vote might go, where his endorsement might go now that he's dropping out of the race. We'll be back in about 30 seconds.
Are you coasting toward retirement? Or are you already there and wondering if this is all there is? Maybe you settled for average so far, but in the home stretch of your life, you don't think that's good enough. Set your sights high and design your perfect day, then make it happen. Take charge and design your lifestyle. Stop by Ralph Carlson blog, www.ralphcarlsonblog.com, and learn how to take control of your life.
Hey folks, we're back. Well, there were 3 principled people running for president on the Republican side. I thought we were going to have a good choice. I'm so sick and tired of voting against people or voting for the lesser of two evils, it's not even funny. And I thought this time I was going to get to vote for somebody. Somebody with principles. Somebody who stood up for Republican, original Republican, small party Republican, small R Republican, unobtrusive government Republican. I thought I was going to get to vote for somebody like that in the presidential election. Because we had 3 people that were principled, small government people running. And now we've got 2. And I don't think those 2 are electable. See, we had Herman Cain, truly a principled man who was annihilated using the politics of personal destruction by the media for something that to this day there has been no evidence of. There have been 2 anonymous claims. There has been one person who came out and said he harassed her when he was at the Restaurant Association, with no evidence. And we now have one that claims to have been screwing him for 13 years and just happens to come out now. Of course, she's lost a libel suit where she said something about somebody else that was a lie. She has a restraining order against her for stalking, for claiming that that the person she was stalking had had a sexual relationship with her for a long time. Been unemployed for over a year. She probably needs money. Like maybe somebody would pay her to say something. There's been no evidence that Herman Cain did anything. He got tired of being beat on. What has happened to Herman Cain over the last month or so is evidence of why nobody decent wants to run for public office. The higher the office, the worse it is. Because people, when you have good policy positions, when you want to cut spending, not raise taxes to cover spending, and we'll just hold the spending level, to cut spending, to have a reasonable foreign policy. See, when you start arguing facts from the conservative side, you have won a factual argument. The argument's done from the standpoint of facts. But liberals, progressives, they don't just want to argue facts. They don't want to just argue policy positions because they lose their ass every time that comes up. No. Because they can't win on facts, they want to fight the battle with innuendo, rumor. They want to fight the battle by anonymous quotes in political publications, websites like Politico, like the Huffington Report. Because facts, they lose. Every single argument, when you talk facts, liberal Democrats lose. You want to talk taxes? Well, talk taxes with them. When they start screaming, make the rich pay their fair share, ask them what share 47% of this country pays. The 47% that don't pay one damn dime to pave the roads that they still get to drive on, to pay for defense of this country where they have a legal right to spout their stupid shit. Don't pay for the military to defend their rights. They don't pay for one damn thing. So let's make it fair, liberal Democrats. Let's let the 47% that don't pay for shit, how about if they pay for 47% of what they use? 47% of the roads. 47% of defense. Let's do that. Instead of the 1% that you bitch about that pays 37% of all taxes, a fair share would be that 1% paying 1% of the support for this country. Just because somebody's rich, when he drives down the road, he's still just using one lane. He can still get stopped by the cops and get a ticket for speeding. Why does he have to pay for 37% of the roads when he only uses one lane, just like that 47% that doesn't pay a damn penny? Huh? Fair would be the 1% paying 1%, and the 99%ers paying 99% of the bill. And the 47% that don't pay one damn penny, they need to be paying 47% of the bill. Now there's fair share. Anyway, we were talking about Herman Cain and him dropping out. There's three people that had principles, and that was Herman Cain, Ron Paul, and John Huntsman. John Huntsman doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell. And frankly, I wouldn't put Ron Paul's chances a lot higher. But he does have a chance. Herman Cain's out, and his supporters have to go somewhere. You can stand on principle. Completely stand on principle, which is what I always say that elected officials should do. And in standing on principle, you can go to Ron Paul. And that'll give us Barack Obama for 4 more years. Now, Herman Cain, the rumor going around, denied by his campaign, but that I frankly think is going to happen, is that Herman Cain is going to endorse Newt Gingrich. And I think that will be one of the biggest mistakes Herman Cain ever makes. Newt Gingrich is a man with no principles. Newt Gingrich is a man who does not give a rat's ass about the people he will be representing. He cares about Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich doesn't give a damn about anybody but Newt Gingrich, and he makes excuses for his screw-ups. Instead of just owning them, I screwed up, I was wrong, end of story, he makes excuses. See, I don't have a problem with the fact that he screwed around on his first 2 wives and then married his mistress. I don't have a problem with that. You can go through a conversion. You can go through a moral enlightenment like he says he has. That can happen. But when you change means accepting responsibility and not making excuses. Newt Gingrich hasn't changed. Newt Gingrich still makes excuses. Hang around for about 15 more seconds. We'll finish this thing up.
So let me get right to the point. If you wanna learn 3D or programming, AI or design, head over to my site, shadesofadream.com.
We're back. Newt Gingrich makes excuses. See, the reason that Newt Gingrich, now this is according to Newt Gingrich, this is not according to me. The reason Newt Gingrich screwed around on his first wife and his second wife is because he was Speaker of the House, and there's a lot of pressure in that job. Pressure is a good excuse for screwing around on your wife, for violating a vow he took twice. A vow to his wife and to God. A vow of fidelity. A promise. He violated that vow because of pressure. Pressure of being Speaker of the House. Now, if being Speaker of the House, which means you sit on your ass in a nice, comfortably upholstered leather chair in a really nicely appointed air-conditioned room and vote, and then sometimes go in back rooms and do deals out of the sight of the public eye because they're so dirty, if that is pressure that would justify violating a vow made to your wife and to God, then everybody coming back from Afghanistan and Iran needs to just unzip when they cross the border and start screwing around without regard for their wife or children. Because of sitting in an air-conditioned room in an upholstered leather chair like Newt did as Speaker of the House, if that is pressure that gives you a free rein, then those guys that have been being shot at for months and months and months, those guys have really felt some pressure, and they ought to be able to screw around all they want to. So should every cop out there. Everybody straps on a gun and walks out to protect and serve. They have free rein. They can unzip anytime they want to. They can act like a horny old hound dog just all they want to. And nobody should say a thing. Their wives shouldn't bitch. No divorces over it or anything. Because they have a lot of pressure on them. Newt, you're an unprincipled man. If you will break a promise, a vow made to God, then there is no doubt whatsoever that you'll break a promise made to the voters of this country. So why don't you just crawl back in your little old hole and go away? It ain't gonna happen, but it sure would be nice if it did. Folks, that's about all for this week. as usual, I want to remind you of a couple things. Number one, every time you're in contact, remember, let's back up a bit. Remember, this website is to piss you off. You see that contact button over there in the right sidebar? Use it. Find out who your senators are, who your representative is, their addresses, their phone numbers. Call them, write them. Whatever they're doing you don't like about you, by God, let them know you're awake and paying attention. If they're having a town hall meeting anywhere near you, show up. Show up and call them on their crap. And when you walk away from them, whether it's at that town hall meeting, or if your representative happens to be home from Washington and is having lunch at Susie's Diner, and you see him in there, you go up and shake his hand, you say hello, and you tell him that you're awake. You're not sleeping on the couch eating Doritos watching football anymore. You actually know his name. And the last thing before you walk away from him, the last thing you say, tell any elected official, anybody drawing a government paycheck before you walk away from him, the very last thing, you look them straight in the eye and you tell them, we don't work for you. You work for us. And then you shake their hand and you walk away. So that's going to be it for this week, folks. As usual, remember 2 things. You have a good day and a good week until I see you again, and y'all come back now. You hear?
Slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, where never lark or even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.